If you can learn to figure out how to forgive and help you move forward, it's movement. If you can find the 5 minutes to run around your place in your underwear or whatever, hit the treadmill, walk up the block, it's movement. If you can figure out how to narrow down that one thing that is important to you, remember the why about that, and execute against that. Executing against that could be Googling more information. Between now and April, it's going to be a series of firsts for me. First time I streamed, first time I became affiliate, 4-year anniversary being on Twitch. What else is there? First 1-year anniversary of In Conversations. Along the way, I will be posting stuff, whether it's on Instagram or whether it's here. So if you're not already doing so, please be sure to follow me on Instagram, TaptheSoul, Born from Music Raid, and Soul Bites. I might as well talk about that as well. If you're not already doing so, please be sure to check me out on your favorite podcast app. It is Soul Bites, a healthy snack from Tap. It is where I aim to stimulate, inspire, motivate, provoke your soul. But it is just a quick snack from Tap, from me to you, to again inspire, motivate, stimulate, whether you're on the go or on the couch, which is usually where I am when I'm recording these. For the month of February, I've been talking about the book club. On Tap Shelf, the book club. I am still reading. I have not finished reading, so we're going to continue reading into March. Those of you who are already reading the book, hopefully you're enjoying the read. To do is to get a forum up and running for us to have a discussion panel. That will be up in probably 2 weeks. It is completely free, and I'm looking for it to be not just about the book club, but just our forum. We've talked about the forum, the Zoom call. The Zoom call has been a challenge because I'm also hearing people say that they keep missing my streams because of time zones. I'm going to see if there's a way that I can do the Zoom call early enough that other places around the world, not just Eastern, are able to participate in the call. So as we start talking about February, I wanted to see if anybody had anything that they have as a takeaway from the month. What did you learn? What did you unlearn? What were your highs? What were your lows? What are you comfortable with sharing? What did February bring you that is helping to enhance and inspire you into the month of March? What are you taking with you? February was heavy for me. I don't know if anybody else felt it. February just felt like the month was too short, and it just felt like a whole bunch of things got crammed into one of the shortest months of the year, and it just felt overwhelming. Like, it's probably the best word. I don't even want to say chaotic because I wasn't sure if I wanted to turn on today because I've just been in a blah kind of state. I posted on it, people caught it right away, and I didn't stream on Sunday because of it. Didn't know if I wanted to stream today because of it. But I've spent the last couple of hours I'm going to say in a work session, not corporate work, personal work, where a friend of mine put me through a rigorous journey of music challenges to test my musical skill and ability. It was actually the most beautiful experience that I needed because it gave me the boost I needed to turn on this channel, although I was a few minutes late, to be here with all of you. So I almost said my fairy godmother, but that might pose violence, to my musical partner. I appreciate you and thank you for giving me the boost I needed to turn on this channel today. And I always say it, like, when you have good people in your circle, you have to hold on to them and cherish them because they are few and far between. There's something about music, right? And I know I talk about it and we all have our connection. The raid, born from music, we're all born from it. Our relationships are born from it. But I really have to say that there's something about music that really just can hit you in a way that just pulls everything together. I really did not plan to turn on. As much as I posted it, I was just like, I'm not doing it. As much as we are all going through our journey at different points of our lives, at the end of the day, that we are kind of going through it together. And I'm sitting here smiling right now because, I know I'm going to get in trouble when I turn off the stream, and that's fine. Music. But as we get into March, over the last week, I've gone through an emotional roller coaster, sharing to share, right? So I went through an emotional roller coaster of bringing back the raid, going through the motions of people and things and the energy around the raid, work. I tried to take a couple days off. I celebrated my daughter's birthday. It was family day. And then I hit a slump, medical health slump. And it really kicked me in the ass, to be honest with you, because I show up here and I talk to you guys on a regular basis about life and health and soul wellness. And then I realized that I have not been as diligent as I should be on myself. And as a result of that, I have work to do. March, I'm going to be incorporating movement. And the reason why I'm saying that out loud is I think it's really important that movement isn't just physical. And I want to make sure that I'm putting it out here in this chat to encourage anybody else who has been thinking about it, kind of doing it, dedicated and committed. If there's ways and tips and tricks that you want to support each other in the chat, drop it in here as well. So yeah, February's done. It is what it is. We are where we are. And at this point, the only thing I could do is go forward. I always say it, the only way out is through, right? And if I keep saying the only way out is through, I have to make sure that I live by that as well. And I'm not just saying it here in the chat. So for me, I'm definitely making sure that I'm incorporating movement. I want to finish reading the book. There's some other things that I'm going to be doing with the channel. I'm not live streaming on YouTube on purpose. I always talk about refinement, right? I think it's important that we definitely entertain the idea of doing whatever we need to do to refine and enhance our life. And I put it up here for a reason, the process of removing impurities or unwanted elements from a substance. The substance I speak of is my own temple, mind, body, and soul. So any way that I can refine, improve, enhance, renovate, whatever you want to call it, I think it's important to apply. One of the things I used to do was dancing in my living room. And on YouTube, there is a lady, and I can't remember her name right now, but she has like 4 moves that she does with a bunch of dancers behind her, and they're walking moves. And I will be done that in like 30 minutes, and I'll go to sit down, and there's parts of my body that's just like, wow, we're really doing this. And I'm thinking, yeah, but it's just so easy to see so much progress just by walking. You don't have to be lifting massive weights and doing all kind of crazy stuff. If that's what you want to do and you're encouraged to do so, go ahead. But movement by just walking, yoga, stretching, those things really do make a difference. And then I always incorporate the meditation aspect, and then you guys hear me talk about it. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. I'm always writing in a journal somewhere. So for me, March, when I say movement, yes, I'll definitely be looking to do more physical movement. But then some of the other aspects to that is just the refinement that I just talked about, right? Moving from a mental state of where I am now, sulking, to where I want to be moving forward and still staying on the positive track to keep moving forward and making my soul wellness journey the best part of my life where I am right now for me on where I am. There was a couple of times I went to sit down and do my podcast, and my brain was just like, yeah, we're not here yet. We're not ready for this. And it is unscripted for me. So I couldn't even, as much as I was writing in my journal, I couldn't put my thoughts together to actually record an episode. And that's part of the reason why I didn't turn on Sunday. I just mentally wasn't there. And then we've had some conversations that we've talked about as well that will come up in March or April, generational racism. And a lot of those things that I'm talking about are those things that are sometimes a trigger. So I always want to make sure I'm being respectful, and hopefully people know that this is a safe space to operate. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm smiling because I'm thinking when I started this a year ago, I had no idea that I'd be doing what I'm doing in the way that I'm doing it. But as I'm posting here and I'm posting on Instagram and I'm looking at all of the anniversary dates on everything that I've been doing on this channel, it has given me a lot of time to go through reflection. So when I'm saying March is movement, and I'm saying it's not just about physically moving, it's about all of those things that you need to do and you need to put in place to kind of move you forward. And I don't know what those are for you, but a lot of what it is for me comes back to refinement. And then we have life. We have spouses and kids and all of that other stuff that's happening, and just the regular everyday life of jobs, etc. And if we don't continue moving, we're going to sit stagnant. And I know one of the things I talked about last week when I was here was just the fact of the appreciation that people have for the quality of music that each of the DJs were bringing forward. And I think that is something to be said. The community that we have here, there is an openness to always be willing to learn, and it should be willing to learn about music as well as anything else that we bring up as a topic. The VIP girlfriend of topics, access and boundaries, I would like to bring that topic up again this coming month if possible. All the topics that we've talked on, I would like to go an extra layer in. But when I think about March and I think about movement, I want to move to the next level. And whatever that next level looks like for me may look different for what it looks like for you. But I would still love to know that we're supporting each other to just move, right? Like just move forward. I was debating how I want to address this part. So I know for myself right out the gate that there's some things that I'm just stuck in. I'm not even going to try to fake the funk. There's some areas and some people that forgiveness in me, yeah, there's an allergic reaction. It just will not happen. And I'm okay with that. And I know the forgiveness is usually more for us than for that person. I just know that if I am at that point of putting forgiveness towards that person, I will feel like I'm cheating myself because I have not fully healed from the scenario that allows me to move forward. So some of that I will be looking at within myself in March on how do I move forward and let go of some of those things that have been, I'm going to say, holding me hostage or that I've been stuck in. And hopefully that will be something that you can look for and do within yourself. And I think is, I always say healing is an ongoing journey. It's a lifelong journey, because even if you heal on a scenario here, there's still something else over here, or there's something over there, and there's some person here. There's always going to be something. And people get this mindset that they're going to go through a healing journey and snap their fingers and everything's Thanos behind them and they can just move forward. And it usually doesn't happen that way. Some people may be fortunate. And that's why I was saying it's a continuous journey, because as much as I'm going to heal and maybe forgive Billy over here, I may not forgive Becky over here. Right. So my journey is definitely not complete. It's continuous. But yeah, it's definitely a worthy goal. What are your plans for March? And when the word movement comes to mind, where do you see that being applicable in your life, whether it is physical movement or otherwise? Time is just flying. So a lot of the things that we say we're going to do, we want to do, and we never get to, there's got to be a better way for us to figure out how do we actually apply ourselves. And again, movement, like that literally is the word for the month of March. It's movement. I talked about accountability and acceptance. So definitely want to do a disciplined conversation, how to focus better. There's all of these bits and pieces that are there that if we can collectively figure out how to support each other, even if it's a small step, we can figure out how to kind of just move the needle forward, right? But the journal's never far away. There's a whole bunch of things in there, but I'm not taking the time to execute. And the words that have really been stuck in my head lately is awareness, realization, and acceptance, and then execution, because there's a lot of that comes in play. And I feel that we spend a lot of time planning or thinking, doodling, wishing, whatever you want to call it, but we don't actually execute. And that is the part that usually holds us back, because then we look around and time has passed, thinking, a month has gone by, 6 months has gone by, 60 years has gone by. That thing that you wanted to do, you still haven't gotten to it because you didn't actually apply yourself. And I've talked about that in a previous stream as well. Like, what's that one thing that you'd want to do for yourself? How many of you have actually executed on that one thing? I know I haven't. I talk about remembering my why. I haven't. And then my slump over the last week on the high of the rate and then the slump on everything else, now I've normalized. So I'm ready to kick up and start going again. But if we can figure out how to narrow down the list, focus on something, and figure out what do we need to do against that something to move the needle forward. And small stuff, right? Like really and truly small stuff. It doesn't have to be big things. I just finished saying, like, dancing in my living room, walking around and doing voice notes. Like, I don't have to do an hour on the treadmill to say, okay, I've actually moved. Walking around in my place, I'm moving, as opposed to, I do have to pace myself. So as I know that I'm working on the other side of where I've just been for the last couple of days, I don't want to try to overdo it. But yeah, it's hard though, right? So like I just talked about movement. I'm talking about the list, procrastinators unite, all that good stuff. It's finding that balance. Right? It is finding that balance. And that's some of the stuff that I struggle with. And I always tell you guys, when I'm talking to you, like, it's raw. You guys are getting the conversation. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not saying it as clickbait. It is as honest and as raw as possible to share, because I want to make sure people always get it, that you really are not alone. And I know a lot of us, myself included, we can sometimes feel that way because we know that the scenario that we are going through, someone is not experiencing it the same way. But they have other things that are going on in their lives that could be the same as, or maybe even worse than what you are going through. So I always try to remember that. And I'm not trying to live on somebody else's, sorrows in any way, shape, or form. But you just always have to remember that someone else is going through something that may be worse than yours. And you just have to remember to figure out, how do you continue to push forward? Right? So yeah, and that's why I posted the other day on my Instagram, and I got some messages on that. And it was, remember your why, to take a moment and focus on one thing and ask yourself, right? Like, what is that? There's so many things. I'm just like, there is so many things. Myself right now. So I stream here, right? I was streaming it on here and YouTube. There's TikTok. The content for all three are different, right? Instagram is a whole thing within itself, and I have multiple channels there. The podcasts, I've talked about that. The Born for Music raid, I was gonna not have it, and I brought it back, and now I have to be remembering how much passion my why was reminded last week. I posted about that this morning, right? I remembered my why based on last week's raid, how much I really miss it, love it, appreciate it, and I thrive off of it in terms of music is a healer. So I rely on that raid every month to help me and know that I'm doing something that is also helping other people, which is the biggest part of it for me. DJs having fun and the community having a good time. Yeah. I've just railed off a bunch of stuff. Let's not forget the book club. And there's a website and there's a business that I'm starting. And then I still have the corporate job. I've had the health issues. And then there's the personal life. We're not going to talk about the personal life here. But there's all of that stuff. There's so many things that I've just railed off. Every single one of these things I've talked about is really, really important to me. And I can identify what the why is on why they're important, but I can't do them all. And that's the hard part. Remember my why. Some of those things I find I don't do well. I have so many different thoughts, right? More for 2020, more for 2024, refinement, the only way out is through, community without barriers. What else is there? Healing is an ongoing journey. There's so many different pieces that comes up. If you can learn to figure out how to forgive and help you move forward, it's movement. If you can find the 5 minutes to run around your place in your underwear or whatever, hit the treadmill, walk up the block, it's movement. If you can figure out how to narrow down that one thing that is important to you, remember the why about that and execute against that. Executing against that could be Googling more information. It doesn't have to be that it's launched and it's live and it's a big whatever, right? Those little steps help to bring the big steps forward. And I think it's just important. And I keep saying it over and over like a broken record. The more that we talk about it and the more that we put the content out there for all of us content creators, yeah, I just did the sigh just now because my brain again is going in so many places. So exactly what I'm saying is exactly what, like, this is why I make sure I show up and I talk to you guys as raw as possible, right? So remembering your why to each of these things is a process. So just start with one. The most important thing, the thing that makes you lose sleep at night, the thing that makes you smile. The thing that makes you frown, because sometimes the focus on what the why is, it could be, you know, changing a habit that you're not happy that you still have, right? Like you want to make sure you're doing something about it. But just start with one. Ask yourself, what is that why and how do you execute? And so I already have my line of sight on the raid kind of sorted. Now it's the focus on, well, what's next? And I've already talked about the In Conversation. I've talked about the book club. I'm talking about movement. So again, figuring out how to narrow down what you're looking at and what you're focusing on. And all of this that I'm saying, the most important piece to all of this really is what are you actually doing for you? So I'm talking about all of these things because they're a part of me, but I still need to actually focus on remembering my why for me. And my why for me, honestly, is the health journey that I'm on. I've had a few backsliding moments that don't look well right now, but they're not impossible to get back on track. So part of my remembering my why is remembering why it's important for me to focus on me. And for those of you that do have health ailments, that maybe that's your why. And if you don't have health ailments, what do you want to do for yourself that is keeping yourself in a very healthy state? Mind, body, and soul. It's not just about losing the 10 pounds, right? There's so much more to it than just trying to lose the 10 pounds. And that's the part that I think a lot of people forget. Yeah, these conversations, things to make you go, and that really is it. You know, I say it all the time and I say life is unscripted, right? So for me, when I'm turning on the channel, I've started writing down notes because my brain is everywhere and I am getting distracted, but I'm not working from a script. I'm working from the script of life. And I think it is so important that we put these pieces of information and nuggets out there into our communities, into our channels, whether it's on Twitch or Instagram or TikTok or your WhatsApp chats or your friend with the girlfriend, the boyfriend, your sisters, your brothers, however, right? because those little things that you mention, that little sentence that you say to somebody, could be what motivates them to move forward. The podcast, as it comes up on the screen, I can't even time this any better, right? I call it a snack with Tap for a reason, right? It's not supposed to be a 25-minute conversation to lecture you in any way, shape, or form. It really is me sitting on that chair back there or on the couch that you can't see in the camera. I pick up my phone, I record, and it's whatever thoughts are in my mind at that point in time. I record, I throw some music on the background, and I go. It is from the purest, rawest, most authentic place that I can find to just share. And I'm always hoping that somebody will listen to it and feel that it resonates with them to motivate, stimulate, or inspire. Like I keep saying it really is that simple. Executing everything else may be hard, but that is the goal of it all, right? Is we all have a message and we all have some form of support, inspiration, guidance, nurturing. I am trying to balance time to do the work I need to do on self and on stuff, as well as still find time to socialize with the community, because I want to make sure that I'm still staying integrated and connected with the community as much as possible. So there's many streams I miss and I feel horrible about it, but I just want to know that at least I'm shouting people out. So if I miss it, okay, that's fine, but there's other people that can still show up and support you. You got to put you first. And I haven't been doing that. I thought I was, Yuda. I thought I was, but I know I wasn't diligent. And I know it, like I've written it in my journal. I've talked to myself, the many voices of self. I know that I wasn't 100% committed to myself the way I have been in the past. And I got the wake up call the other day that said, you don't have time to mess about and be lazy on yourself as much as you want to pour into everybody else. You got to be pouring into yourself first. So I'm trying to make sure I do that more. How am I liking the book? So for those of you who have read the book, and in case you're asking, let me put it up here just to make it easier. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. So I've read the book before. The 2 times I've read the book before, I was in a very different space in my life, and I got very different content from the book. I started reading the book at the beginning of February, and I have to say it's I'm absorbing it differently. Books, it is a hard read, depending on how open you are on the journey of life, because some people don't want to call it self-care or soul wellness or whatever. But I just feel that if you are open to moving forward in your life in a way that really brings you full, complete joy and understanding, as you read the book, it will help unfold more for you. That's the best way that I will put it. 27th, the Born from Music Raid, Volume 11, the anniversary edition, will be coming up, and it is going to be guaranteed vibes. And let me put this here. Let me pin this here, just so we can see all the details. So it will be starting at 1 o'clock, maybe earlier if I turn on for 30 minutes, but officially it will start at 1 p.m. Eastern. It will start with Dr. C, then it will head over to his neighbor, Team Shellings. It will go from there to nephew DJ Blair, Nita Dawn, Quite Sane, the Troublemaker DJ Smiles in the chat tonight, and then it will end off with DJ Swirls. Sometimes I think it's important for people to know, and it's the same thing I just said, right? And the same thing that we're saying earlier, Sharashi. There's a lot of times when we put words out there and we don't know how we might be things that make you go, which is also the Arsenio Hall thing, if those of you are old enough. Sometimes the littlest of things can have the biggest impact on people's life, positively or negatively. And as I'm getting ready to tap out, with those of you who hear the podcast, that's become the signature thing lately. I just want to take a moment to remind us all that as we are wrapping up this month of February and we each have our thoughts on how the month has been for us, tomorrow starts another day. Yes, we're still in February, but every new day starts a new year. And that's something that we have to always remember. And I know that I suffer with that sometimes, where I get down in the dumps and in self-pity and sulking and whatever else along the way. And I have a good community of people that I cherish from my soul on how much they take out of their time in their life to help me. But I also have to now start remembering that although they are here for me, I need to make sure that I am not exhausting them as they're going through their own stuff. So the littlest of things can have a positive or a negative impact. March for me is movement. It's not just physical, but I will be definitely doing that. Anybody else who is interested in keeping track of moving in March, let me know. And it's simple. You're just going to be moving, whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, whatever it is that you want to do. And you're being accountable to yourself. We're just going to support each other and we're going to talk about it. So March for me is movement. If you're interested, let me know. We can figure out how to continue to support each other. Within the next 2 weeks, I will have a forum out there and I'll have a spot on the forum also to talk about movement. The book club, The Alchemist, I'm going to continue reading it. I am not done reading, so I'm going to be reading it into March. Those of you who have finished, those of you who are still reading, those of you who are interested in reading, just read. That is it. Just grab the book and read. And I will, if you're not doing so, follow me on Instagram so you can stay connected. Remind yourself to take a moment. And I'm saying that, and I paused on purpose as I'm going through all of the different things that thank you, sweetie. So I'm going to be at a point now where I'm going to try to figure out how to still be here to stream and support you, the community, the collective, but also make sure that I'm taking time for myself. So there may be some times when I actually don't turn on the stream, but I'll be posting elsewhere. So you guys are still getting that love and support from me, even if it's not sitting down for an hour and a bit and chatting. If there's any way that you want to incorporate movement physically, mentally, soulfully within your routine, please be sure to do so. And if you want to do this as a group conversation, hit me up on a whisper or on Instagram, or any other ways that you are connected to me, and we can figure out how we can support each other. Let me officially tap out with this. Over the course of the last week, I have gone through an emotional journey of many highs and many lows and many things in between. And the one thing that I had to remember along the way was that I am absolutely not alone, even in the moments that I felt the most sad, hopeless. And even with the people that were around and that were saying that they were around, I still felt what I felt. And I want to make sure that as I say this, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, and you're going to hear it in probably every single stream and every podcast. You are not alone. And for the days that you feel alone, there are many folks that reached out to me in the chat, on my whisper, on my Instagram, just to check in because I didn't stream on Sunday. And I want to say thank you. And I want to remind all of us that the big and the small of what we do can really help somebody in a way that you don't even know. And I'm talking right now and I already feel the emotional coming. So I'm definitely going to make sure I'm literally holding back tears because I was in such an emotional high and low at the same time because of everything that was going on in my life. And, I talk about behind my smile, and I talk about that for a reason. There are so many of us that are smiling and going through such a hard time, and we don't feel like we have safe people to have a conversation with, or just to sit beside you and just know that you're not alone. I talk about it here in the stream. I want to make sure that all of you guys are hearing it from my lips to your ears, that you are absolutely not alone. And even for the moments when you feel like it, remember that you are not, and reach out to people around you. There are people that are there to care for you. A lot of people just don't know because we hide everything behind a smile or we have the walls up. So as I get ready to officially tap out now, I want to wish all of you a fantastic day, week, and follow me on all the social channels, and we could definitely be there to connect and talk and vibe and rock out. Read the book, listen to the podcast, check in on a friend. And even if the check-in is just saying hi, then just say hi. That's it. If they need you and they feel comfortable, maybe they'll share, maybe they won't, but they'll again know that they're not alone. So I'm going to change the screen now before any of the snot nose crying actually officially starts. But I'm sending all of you peace, love, and blessings. I miss you all. I'll miss you all over the next coming days. Love.